Hi everyone, John here from All Miniatures Great and Small, and I thought I'd do a quick video about list building for Flames of War. So I am building a few lists to take up against Jake's Germans, and I was using the new starter box set, starter army set, at least parts of it, to try to create a list to take against him that I thought would be interesting. So what I did was I based my formation on the self-propelled artillery regiment. So my core formation is a self-propelled heavy artillery regiment. And that is going to be an HQ of 1 IS-2, 2 platoons, one of ISU 122s, and 1 platoon of 3 ISU 152s. Then I've got a 15 stand strong unit of SMGs. These are submachine gun company. So that's my core formation, and building a core formation, that's something you always want to start with because that's what keeps you on the table. So that gives me 4 units in my core formation. Not the best, but still it's better than 3. And remember, your formation breaks if you're down to 1 unit in good spirits. So I'd have to lose, both my tanks and all my infantry for this formation to break, or my HQ and both of my tanks before the formation breaks. So that's going to keep my formation on the table longer, and that's one of the reasons why I chose to include an SMG company instead of a rifle company that came in the starter box, because the SMG company is part of this core formation, whereas the rifle company would not have been. The only other thing I'm doing is giving the SMG company the RPG-6 grenade launcher or upgrade card. That's 1 point for that unit, and I think it's well worth it to give them a little anti-tank punch. But otherwise, that core formation takes up about 67 points out of my 100-point list. Now, typically, when you're looking for your core formation, you decide on what core formation you want to take, and then based on what that core formation is, you're going to take support units to supplement that, to fill in any gaps or anything that's missing. Almost any unit, almost any formation or force, I guess this is called a force now, is going to want some form of recon. And there's a couple of options in the Bagration book, and I'm going with the BA-64 armored cars. One, they're only 2 points, so they're dirt cheap for 3 of them. And 2, that's going to give me some spearhead potential in a mission if I happen to be the attacker, which is good. So that's one of my support platoons. The next support platoon is a unit of 3 IS-2s. So that's a pretty pricey support platoon. It runs 22 points, but it's going to be pretty scary for the opponent. 3 of these they can be dangerous in assault, and with that AT-14 main gun, German tanks are going to have to respect them. The nice thing is, too, that I imagine these guys are going to be out in the front or taking a lot of fire. If I lose them, it's not going to affect my core formation. So my core formation morale would be the same. So if they're shooting at these guys instead of my ISUs, that's almost a win for me, because even if I lose them, it's not that big a deal. So normally I like to have scouts, some type of recon. I've got some heavy support. These guys are going to be doing, tank assault duty if we need to assault something. And then for artillery, I took a unit of 76 millimeter guns. And I know, actually, I think these are the 57 millimeter, but it's the same concept. And those guys provide a artillery bombardment and also direct fire. Now, what you could also do, and what I'll probably do against Jake, is swap these out with Katyushas and put 4 of them in there, because those are the same points. They're 8 points for a unit of 4 of these or a unit of 4 of those. Arguably, this is probably better in most circumstances because they can defend themselves. If you put just these guys on an objective, they might be able to stave off an assault by light tanks or medium tanks because they have like anti-tank 9 in direct fire, whereas the Katyushas don't. They're unarmored tank team, so they die to a stiff breeze. If they're shooting at them, you've done something wrong with them. But the advantage that the Katyusha brings is its artillery template is a salvo. So instead of a normal 6-inch template that this guy would throw, those guys would be throwing a 10-inch square. So basically like a record album right on top of the enemy. So if you're fighting a formation that has a lot of infantry or a lot of static teams, dug-in teams, that's going to be really great because you can cover a lot more. Sometimes when an opponent is setting up and they know you have artillery, they'll space out as much as they can so that that 6-inch template, gets the minimum that they can get. When you throw a 10-inch template at that becomes a lot harder. You're going to hit a lot more teams under there. Firepower-wise, in bombardment, these guys are the same. It's like anti-tank 2, 4-up firepower. So they're not. Neither one of these are bombarding tanks to death, but they are going to be gun teams. Infantry are going to have to respect either one of these. Like I said, so that's a good swap out, depending on the type of battle or opponent I might be facing. So it gives me some flexibility in the force. Now, this isn't perhaps an ideal force. There's probably different ways to run this force. These guys could be swapped out with like another unit of ISUs, and then that would be a beefier core formation. But it's all about building something that you're going to enjoy playing. So I like this because it's got a little bit of everything. I'm not duplicating any unit here, and that's I kind of like that. Now that said, I eventually do want to run an IS-2 company, but in that IS-2 company I might have a platoon of IS-85s with the faster firing gun. So there's a lot of different ways to run this, but I thought you guys might enjoy a quick video just talking about my thoughts in building this force that you're going to eventually see in a battle report. Overall, we don't play for tournament or super competitive here on the channel. When you're playing at a tournament, you've got to look at every point you give up. Every unit that's destroyed could conceivably be a victory point that you lose or your opponent gets. So having something very fragile like these scout cars might not be a great idea, particularly since I think they're still hit on 3s. But again, I'm building what I feel like is a force that can take on all comers and something fun to put out on the table. All right, guys, so there you go. I do want to remind everyone that we do have a Flames of War Patreon. I'll put a link in the video description below. There you can get access to one Flames of War battle report a month. That's unique and just for Patreon users. And then also we have we post some videos early and stuff like that. So go check that out if you're interested in more Flames of War content from us. Otherwise, look for these guys to battle on the channel on YouTube soon. Either this formation or a different formation that's similar. But there you go, guys. Also, please do check us out on Facebook at All Miniatures Great and Small. You can keep track of what we're doing there. And here on YouTube, we would super appreciate a like and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that bell icon to receive notification when we publish new content. As always, thanks for watching, though, and keep on wargaming.